Hi, this is Jess Ponce, and welcome to the A Factor podcast. Today we are doing an in session, and that is when I speak with a professional about his or her brand and a dilemma they might be experiencing. And today I am joined by Kitty Bucholtz. And how are you, Kitty?
I'm doing great. It's good to see you in live and in person.
Thank you. Thank you. It's good to see you live and in person. And what is exciting about the in sessions is that we actually record them not only for a podcast, but also for YouTube so that people can see us interact. So, Kitty, now I know briefly about you, but I would love for you to tell all of us what it is that you do.
So I am a novelist and in fact, a writer in general, because I also am working on 3 different nonfiction books as I speak here. I'm also a podcaster. So I have a podcast for writers, which is Right Now Workshop. And then I've been teaching on and off online and in person since the late 1990s, when Yahoo Groups was the new techie way to have an online class. And so what I'm doing now is I'm focusing on one-on-one coaching for writers, because I find that I have the most joy when I'm working with one person and seeing the light bulb come on and helping them to actually finish and or publish their book. So those are kind of the overall umbrella of everything that I'm working on.
Great. So if you were to say like 1 or 2 words to describe what you do, what would you say that is?
Encourage. That's my big thing. Mm-hmm. And oh man, encouragement is such my big thing. It's funny when you say 2 words, I'm like, oh, the other one would probably be push.
So you encourage and push the would-be writers to tell their stories?
Yeah. I have a lot of friends who have written a lot of books, some who have written a lot of beginnings of books. I have a friend who's been working on the same book for over 20 years. And one thing that I absolutely believe is that any one of us could write a book that changes someone's world, whether it's just to help someone to get out of the miserable day that they've had, or if it actually changes minds and changes hearts and changes the way that we now interact in the world. I mean, books are so powerful. Words are so powerful. And the more I'm involved in writing and then teaching, because I love to teach, the more I believe that every one of us has this in us. It's just a matter of whether or not we want to put the time and energy into pursuing it. And when somebody gets to the point where they're like, I want to do it, but I'm not sure, like that's where they need the encouragement and the push. And I generally try to balance that enough so that they get more encouragement and the push feels a little bit more like I'm taking their arm next to them rather than pushing them from behind.
Okay, you said a great statement that I do not want to let go, and I want to draw attention to. I believe that everybody has the ability to write a book that'll change their world. Am I getting it close?
Yeah. That will change someone's world. It may not change the entire world. You may not write a book that makes entire nations change and become, go from war to peace. But the fact is that so many people pick up a book and just want to get away from, the thing that happened today. There's just like, I just need a little bit of an escape. And that is a gift.
Before we go on, I want to go back to that one statement. Can you say it again for me? Just that one statement and let it land and sit for a second.
Okay. I absolutely believe that every one of us can write a book that changes someone's world.
That's pretty amazing. That's pretty amazing. And the reason I want to sit with this is that, when I have the opportunity to work with people, I think sometimes there's such great, rich jewels that they say and they do. And I think this is one of those. I mean, it is such a profound statement that I want to make sure everybody hears it, because you not only express a purpose and a mission in that simple statement, but you also do that empower and encourage and push that you had mentioned. It's such a power-packed way of declaring what it is that you do and how you help people that I just want to draw attention to it. Because I think, everything you say after that is gravy, is wonderful. And I think what is really challenging for many of us, especially those of us who are coaches, are authors, or subject matter experts, is that we're also entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And we work for ourselves, quite often by ourselves. And we go from either being too purposeful in our language, meaning like, it becomes very coachy and empowering and helpful, or we go into sales mode, right?
Right.
We have to switch hats on a dime, be the expert and then also be the salesperson. And I don't know what your dilemma is, but I really wanted to just focus on that one thing for a moment, because I think that it's powerful, and it is something that is going to ground me as we continue to have this conversation.
It's so great to talk to someone outside of your world about the things that are so important to you, because you hear what's affecting someone else in a way that you're not experiencing it inside your own head or heart,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's great that I'm like, oh, I was not sure, when I first came up with that tagline several years ago. I'm like, I hope that doesn't sound too, pie in the sky, frou-frou. But whenever somebody, says, stop, let's just think about just that one sentence. And I'm like, oh yeah, all right, good. It is affecting other people as well as me.
Well, somebody told me once that the difference between writers and those who want to write is writing.
That is so true, right?
And I think so many of us have stories we want to tell, advice we want to give, journeys we want to share with people. And it really comes down to, putting pen to paper. I mean, and I'm talking from my perspective as somebody who's had the pleasure to write books. But I know that there's so much more involved. And I know for myself, my partner, God bless him, because I'm starting a third book, and he's like, sitting there kind of smiling, going, okay, yay, because it is a process that anyone around you will attest can be challenging.
Yeah. Yeah. And the hard thing about challenges is that the people around you are going to feel your frustrations, because, they're there in the air around you, and they're going to want to help and not know how to do it. And they're going to try to help, and it's not always going to be the right thing. And it can be kind of a tricky process when somebody's going through this kind of creative push.
And on the other hand, won't understand the excitement that you have of a simple turn of phrase, or oh my God, I nailed it, I was thinking about this one thing, and your excitement, and you go on for like 45 minutes, and you kind of sometimes get, honey, I love you, and great.
Yeah, exactly. I'm happy for you, right? That was a good thing, right?
Yes, I think, right? I and the last time I said something, I didn't know if I said the right thing or not.
Right.
Okay, so lots that we can talk about, but I want to focus on you and what you're bringing to our session today. So do you have a dilemma or something that you've been pondering?
Well, so since I've been teaching for over 20 years, I've just gotten into some not bad habits in life, but bad habits in business, which is undercharging, not charging, saying, well, I'll help you out if you take me to lunch. And now I've gotten some great advice from some business coaches who are like, you know what, if you're serious about this, you need to make it into a business, a real business. And so I'm looking at this writing coaching thing. Realizing after doing a few sessions that were not just sessions, but like having clients for a few months that were one-on-one, that, oh my gosh, I love one-on-one clients. So like even more than teaching classes. But the thing is that I've had so many different kinds of clients that it's been really hard for me to write the branding messaging that should go on the website, like how people know that I'm the right coach for them. Because there's a lot of great coaches coach is, and I might be the wrong coach for you. But if I'm the right coach for you, am I saying it in a way that you understand that, yes, this is the person that I want to at least have that consultation call with and see whether or not we match? And part of the problem, and it's not really a problem, I just have to figure out how to do the messaging of it, is that I genuinely enjoy what appears to be a pretty diverse group of clients. Mm-hmm. So there's one fellow that I've been working with for a few years. We're on the second book now. He published his first one last January. Mm-hmm. And he's like a mid 30s year old man in Southern California. He pastors a church, and he wanted to write a book for the congregation to get out there and get more involved, in the community. Mm-hmm. And so that was super fun. Since I also come from a traditional Christian background, I felt like I had a lot of things that I understood where he was probably coming from, and gave him ideas on things to consider, how to make a story out of it, with a beginning, a middle, and the end, how the reader would be transformed. But on the other hand, one of my friends who has become a client, she's been writing this fantasy novel for almost 20 years now. And I love working with her and all the amazing, crazy, cool things that she comes up with. But again, it's still the same kind of coaching that I do. We're trying to figure out the beginning, middle, end of the story. How does the reader get transformed? How does the character get transformed? How are we saying something profound without putting it into words, which makes it feel like we've just did some sort of sermon or something, which is not what you want in a novel. So I have different kinds of clients, and I don't know how to write the messaging so that it helps people to understand I can help you create a story. If it's a memoir, if it's nonfiction, a transformational kind of book, if it's genre fiction, contemporary commercial fiction. Probably I'm not your girl for writing a political memoir. I'm definitely not your girl if you're like, I'd like to write a how-to book on how to create pipe bombs. Not your girl. And I would imagine probably that person is not actively looking for a writing coach. But you can see that my issue is that I see on other writing coach websites, I coach all kinds of nonfiction, from the person who's writing a blog post to the person who's writing an academic article. Somebody else is like, I coach only nonfiction books. Somebody else, I coach only romance novelists. And I'm like, I'm not really a fiction or nonfiction girl. I'm not a Christian books or mainstream books kind of girl. I want to help people craft a story. And I'm not sure how to put that in words that the person who comes to my website, who has some idea of what it is that they're looking for because they Googled writing coaches, is going to understand, that, this might be somebody I want to have one of those free consultation calls with.
Okay, so lots of things, lots of things here. So first, I want to help people tell stories or craft stories. So you already said what it is that you do. Right?
Okay.
And you said it in this context. I want to help people craft stories, but I'm trying to find the messaging where I can say that. Well, you just said it. Okay. So let's use that as our grounding force. So I want to help people craft stories. You put that with your other mission statement. I believe that everybody has the ability to tell a story that will change somebody's life.
Right.
Both of those statements are very powerful, and they also have heart and emotion that is uniquely you.
Yeah, that's what I want. Yeah.
So we have to, so let's work with the things that we have, that we know, right? You made both of those statements. The other thing that you're declaring, but you're not doing it in an affirmative, actionable way. You're kind of doing it in a don't kind of way. And here's what I mean by that. It's, well, I don't do this, but I feel like I should do this. Is you don't have a specific niche. You don't have a specific type, and by niche, for those listening, I mean, there's this big thing in the writing world, whether you do memoirs or nonfiction, realistic fiction, political autobiographies. So the genre of writing is not your limitation, right?
Right.
So just declare it, own it. I'm not confined by the type of genre. Great.
Okay, just say it.
Yeah, whether or not other people out there are marketing it, doing whatever, don't feel like you have to. That sort of internal dialogue, and I could see it in your face, was like, I'm not doing that, but I feel like I should be doing that. And there's a lot of debate and wasted time there. So if you're going to market, I don't do it. Done. Okay, now suddenly we freed up energy to move forward, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not confined by genre. I believe that everybody has the ability to tell stories that will change somebody's life. And I help people craft those stories. So you already have 3 very powerful things. Yeah. What I do here in terms of internal dialogue is this sort of market approach. And it's challenging. I get it. As coaches, as authors, as subject matter experts, we are also entrepreneurs and marketers.
Yeah.
These are multiple hats. Some we do well, some we love doing, some we don't.
Yeah.
Strangely, it is very funny, just to share a little bit about myself. When I actually have to go do accounting stuff, I love it because I don't have to think.
Yes.
Right, because numbers don't lie. I mean,
right.
You can sit there and go, oh, shit, that should have been more or whatever. But it doesn't require a lot of creative thinking. It's like, okay, numbers in there. Oh, this matches here. Like it's actually stimulating because I don't have to think anything creatively. But my point in this is that for your marketing hat, I would like to push back and challenge your thinking.
Okay.
You kind of hop the fence. So you're right there in terms of your thinking. You made a statement. How do they know I'm the right coach for them?
Yeah.
Think of it this way. Who's the right writer for you to work with?
Okay. Well, I know that I could probably name what my perfect writer looks like, my perfect client.
Well, let's stay away from perfect because perfect is a unachievable goal. So yeah. Maybe we frame it in the sense of what type of writer, would-be writer, author, do you feel you can really help? Do you feel like you can gel with that would be exciting for you and him or her?
Yeah. Okay. You want me to answer now?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Please.
Okay. So I think that the most fun for both of us would be somebody that we get on this call and we're like, I really like you. Like, I like your personality, and I could spend, 20 hours over the next 6 months hanging out with you and talking about writing and brainstorming. It would be somebody who, regardless of whether or not they consider themselves shy or outgoing, is somebody who's willing to talk and say the things that are on their mind. Because I can't help somebody who's not telling me, what they're thinking, or saying, I hear what you're thinking, but I don't agree, or I hear what you're thinking, but I don't understand. So it would have to be somebody who's at least willing to give, some give and take in the communication. Mm-hmm. And then somebody who, I think whether they knew it or not, I think I would be able to tell by talking to them, who they are really excited about the story. Whether it's something that's I talked to one fellow who was writing sort of a memoir of his grandparents' life. And the way that he was like talking about this and that, I was like, oh, that sounds really interesting. And as soon as I sounded interested, like he just kind of like got all excited and stuff. And I'm like, yes, that kind of passion and energy and enthusiasm, as opposed to, maybe when you take a college class, you're like, oh, I'm just kind of kicking around. I thought I've got some time, I've got some money, I'll just do this thing. Like that probably would not be as fun for either one of us.
Great. So there's, and I took some notes here, so I wasn't reaching out for a book to doodle on. Just so you know, for anybody watching, you can see my hand move out of the out of the frame here. But you work well with people who are open, who are honest, who are eager and want to participate in their own success, and I think that's important, and are excited to tell a story.
Yeah.
So when I think about you marketing yourself, you putting your website out there in the world, first, I think it should be in first person, because I think you are the sell.
Yeah.
Your approach is the sell. It's not that you've worked with 500 romance novelists. It's not that specific, yet it is very specific. Okay, it's not specific by genre. It's specific by personality.
Yeah.
And what your irresistible offer is. So I think it needs to be in first person. But if you are excited to tell your story and you are willing to participate in your success, I welcome you to engage in an honest and open coaching relationship, because I believe that everybody has a story to tell that can change someone's life. And what I want to do is help you craft that story.
Wow. That is what I want to say. Wow. I love that.
And these are all things that you've said.
That's crazy.
So, if you work with that sort of boilerplate, and good thing that this is recorded, so we can go back to that. But if you work at that as your boilerplate, everything from there is an extension of that. The other thing I think is going to be really important, in addition to making this statement, expanding on this statement, and speaking in first person, is that you do videos. Because when I hear you speak, when I see your enthusiasm, I'm sorry I haven't heard your podcast, but I'm sure your podcast equally shows that. Those things, you're the sell, right? And so I want you to be that sell, and I encourage you and push you into that direction where people see you. Be visible, be seen, because your energy, your essence, your smile, everything that you say is what's going to captivate people in. Don't be flat. Here's the thing with the website. I think a lot of times they're flat. And by that, I mean, it's like a reader. You have to pick up a book, and then suddenly, are these words popping out at you? And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But you're more like, okay, let's look at the cover. Let's look at, what's the poster? Is there a point of sale video? You're like the book trailer. You want things to come alive. Yeah. And I see that in you.
Oh, this is so encouraging, because I've been thinking about putting videos on my website for over a year, and I just haven't done it. I'm not sure why. So maybe I just needed, and it's so funny. Did you notice, I don't know if you did this on purpose, you used my words back towards me and you said encourage and push. And I'm like, that's apparently what I needed today.
Well, it's so often, and I have this experience, and I imagine it's the same thing that you do when you work with one-on-one with somebody, is people say it. People's words, they just don't. And I don't want to say don't believe it, but there's a lot of other, like, I should, or the competitors do this, and there's this measure. And my thing is, let your words be the litmus. Let it be the base, the barometer, where everything else extends from that.
Yeah.
Because that's what's going to be most powerful. So, great, try the videos. And here's the other thing is, you don't know until you do it. You may refine them a statement. You may do a delivery that's going to be different than when you first started. But until you do it, you don't know. And I think you have everything you need right in front of you.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. I have to say, I kind of want to be like, well, that was fun. See you, Jess. I got to go make a video.
Well, no, I think this is a wonderful place to end our session right now. But I would like to give you an opportunity. So tell us, how can we get a hold of you? Where can we find your podcast? Where can we know more about you?
Thanks for that. So the podcast is available on pretty much all podcast apps. Plus, there's a YouTube version, and it's Right Now Workshop Podcast. So WRITE, Right Now Workshop. And then rightnowworkshop.com will give you information about all the other things that I do and things that I offer for writers. KittyBucholtz.com is where you can find if you're interested in superhero books for women and romantic comedies. And I'm also on social media everywhere as Kitty Bucholtz, which I guess I should spell. It's KITTYBUCHOLTZ, Kitty Bucholtz, on pretty much every social media platform.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. And I want to remind everybody at home that quite often we have the words within us, and the more that we speak it and even record it, we can hear those words played back to us, because there's no set of standards that you have to do. You know, I work with people, it's like, oh, well, I have to do a website, or I have to do videos, or I've got to do social media. And anytime you have to, you go back to that 7-year-old kid, like, I ain't going to do it. There's just some automatic block. But, you know, enjoy what you do, pay attention to your words, and join me next time on another A Factor podcast. And if you want more information, remember, you can always go to my website, jp3globalmedia.com, share this, and also follow me. Okay, thank you guys very much. See you next time.